Aloha Nerd and Geeks. I'm Garrick, this is Van.
Hello.
If you've stayed tuned to our last video, we did our top 10 games of 2018, numbers 10 to 6. In this episode, we go to 5 to number 1. And I'm actually kind of excited because I have no idea what your number 1 game is.
Same for you.
In case you didn't see the last video. You know what? Stop this one, go watch the other one. I'll wait for you. Let's go into number 5.
My number 5 is a game that just came out 2 weeks ago. It's a Plaid Hat release that had a lot of controversy because it's so expensive. It's a $100 game.
Okay.
It's the second game in their Crossroads system. They took a poll at the end of the first year of Dead of Winter.
Right.
And they asked people what game they'd like to make next, and they said a space opera. So they made a game called Gen 7, where you are the 7th generation aboard this generation ship that's going to a new planet, and something happens. This is a branching storyline game that's huge. It's a dice placement game where you play 7 scenarios in a row. And every time you play, like if you reset, you could take different paths down the story. And I didn't know if I'd like it because, you know, I didn't know if I wanted to pay $100 for it.
Right.
It's, you know, there's so many legacy games out there that are kind of like this. But it's amazing.
My number 5 is a game from France. Those guys created a game that reminded me a lot of the movie Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So the game is called Monster Slaughter, and it is a game where you play families of different types of monsters trying to kill a group of teenagers locked in a cabin. You're trying to do it first, you're trying to do it in a sequential order to get more points for it. But what I love about the game is that they have different scenarios. So you could play one version where maybe you have the heroes of other movies, like maybe you have an Ash-like character or a Men in Black type of character in there. Or maybe you are there to really fight against the other monsters. There's different systems to it. I thought it was just fantastic. And the miniatures, oh my God, the miniatures are so good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really want to play the game. I never thought you'd be a miniatures type of
I'm
gamer.
not really, but just all the games that I like so far have little miniatures in them. On to number 4.
Number 4.
My number 4 game is a game, it's all about history. American history.
There's a theme here.
There is a theme here.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that was number 7?
Yeah, for me, yeah. Number 8.
My number 4 is Western Legends. So, love that game. Another game with miniatures. Didn't think I would get that. Did not think I would get that or even like it. But it's another sandbox game. And it's a Kickstarter.
I didn't mention this before, but it's like Red Dead Redemption if you play if you play PC, not PC games, but console games. You can go around and basically do whatever you want. You can take cows and take them someplace else to be sold, or you can steal them.
Yeah.
You can become an outlaw, or you can become part of the sheriff's.
Yeah, you can be an outlaw and then
Or
decide to, hey, I'm going to be turning a new leaf and go the opposite way. You could be a marshal and then all of a sudden go rogue.
My number 4 is a game that was supposed to come out last year but came out at the beginning of this year. It is a huge game, and I really like it.
Oh God, I think I know where you're going. Oh my God, okay.
So,
Go ahead.
So it's a game where you're in another world and you are in charge of, I think it's duchies. The king turns into a monster. Lots of things happen, and it's a beautiful board with beautiful arts and huge, and it takes 2.5 to 3 hours to play. Feudum.
Oh my God. That's like my worst game of the year.
So I introduced this game to Garrick, of course, and it is a heavier game where mechanics work off of each other. There's 6 different guilds. You travel paths, and there are little dice that you don't actually roll. They become your pawns. It's sprawling, and it's huge, and it's amazing for me. And probably why he wanted to cut me out of the number 4, even though he didn't know that my number 4 was going to be Feudum because he hates it.
I hate that game.
Okay.
Okay. conflicting ideas, but that's okay. It's the list. All right, on to number three.
My number 3 is a game that also came out in the past month. Crusaders Thy Will Be Done by Tasty Minstrel Games. So this is a game that I've been waiting a long time for because they were about 6 months late on the Kickstarter. But it's a Mancala style game where you can change the Mancala wedges to take actions per game. And you're basically going around crusading. But it's, how do I put it? It's not a negative type of game. Well, everything that you do does something positive, so the game goes really quickly. So you're supposed to crusade and fight the bad guys, the Saracens, and everybody else, and build things along the way. But there's no way to lose victory points. There's no way to lose anything.
My number 3 is I never thought I would actually pick this game, or it would even be in my top 10. But it is an app-driven game. So you need to have your phone or your app to really make it work. This is Chronicles of Crime.
Oh, that's a great game.
That is a great game. Normally, when there's a board game that requires an app, I don't like those kind of things because what if your phone dies? Or what if the app doesn't really exist anymore? It can't be compatible with your new phone. You lose the game, right? This one I had high doubts on, but the more I played it, the more I kind of felt like I was a character from CSI. You literally have to take your phone and put these virtual eyeglass kind of things and look at the crime scene and try to do stuff. It is so captivating. And to interview characters that you think are suspects, you take your phone and you click it to see what they have to respond. At least a picture of the character have little QR codes. It's a fascinating game.
I totally own that game. I was going to put this on my list, but I'm a little biased because we're beta testing it right now. So there's some expansions that are out that aren't unlocked because we're still going through testing for some of that.
Sure.
But it's great. There are 2 expansions that I think you'll love. There's a noir expansion and a Red View where you play like a Scooby Gang kind of thing, solving mysteries for kids. A lot to look forward to in that game. I really like that 360 view thing too.
Yeah, that was very interesting. That's very cool. Cool. On to number 2. Okay, so my number 2 is a game that combines 2 games in one. 2 games in one dynamic. I am a fan of the heist movies, traditional heist movies. So if you've ever seen Baby Driver, that was really kind of cool. Snatch, that's another great crime heist movie. My number 2 game is The Big Score.
I feel like we've played this before.
Yes, yeah, because you didn't back that one, but I totally backed this game. Loved it. Again, it's 2 games in one. So first you play a drafting game where you're drafting cards to see if you can get a gang to do smaller heists to get ready for the big job, the big score. The second one is pure luck, and you're just drawing from a bag and pulling out something, and you're trying to see who has the loot and who has the cop token, and trying to pull out at the last minute to see if, make sure you don't get caught.
I'm really surprised that this wasn't, I thought this would be your number 1.
Cool.
It was a good game.
It was a good game. Yeah, I love that game.
Okay, my number 2 is a reprint of an older game, which I didn't include any expansions or reprints. This is the only one on my list. And I felt that it was different enough from the last edition. This is Arkham Horror 3rd edition.
Oh, okay.
Compared to Arkham Horror 2nd edition. It blew me away. So I've looked at my plays because I'm crazy and I record all of my plays.
Enthusiasts. Board game enthusiasts, yes.
So I've spent hundreds of dollars on Arkham 2nd edition. Hundreds. And I have all the expansions and everything, and I've played that game a total of 4 times over the past 10 years.
Right.
Okay, so Arkham 3rd edition I've played 4 times in the past month.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just scenario driven, it's great thematic. It takes a couple of hours to play and to really get into, but it's a cooperative game. The best kind of co-op because you don't need to scale anything. Like you could have just jumped into the game at some point and it would have been It would have made the game harder, but it wouldn't have changed the game that much.
Wow.
You played the game with me.
I did. You introduced that game because I've heard so many stories about how long it was, and I'm not really into the long driven games. But when playing with your little group, I was kind of into it because it told a really good story.
This is number.
It is
number one.
Number one.
Number one.
Number one.
Number one. Me first.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. My number one game is also not a Kickstarter.
Really?
Yes. It's a published game. It is a horror-themed game.
Okay.
In a game, and it's actually kind of a retheming, so I guess it's not really a different edition. But it's a retheming of a game that I actually hate. I played it once, the original game.
Yeah.
And they rethemed it again, and they made an expansion for it, and I just didn't like it because it was too fiddly. But my number one is Betrayal Legacy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Betrayal Legacy is a great take on that game where you're going through the house. This year, for whatever reason, is the year of horror, right? Netflix put out The Haunting of Hill House, and there's The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and tons of horror content. And this game really is like The Haunting of Hill House, where it's a generational type of game, but you start really early, and every time you play, you fast forward the clock like 19 years.
Yeah.
And if you survive, you can be the same person.
Right,
like
right.
I was a young man, and then in the next one I was an older man, and I survived another one, so I was an old man. And you're playing this game in this house that's just haunted, like the most haunted house ever. It's crazy, and it's so different. We play a lot of legacy games,
Right.
but this is my favorite by far.
My number one, I have a little bit of debate about this because my number one, there's conflicting stories about that. It came out in 2017.
Okay.
Okay, but I think over here in Hawaii, because we live in Hawaii, it came 2018. So, by right, I'm going to put that on my 2018 list because that's really the first time I actually got to play it. It is a game that if you love romantic comedies, you will probably love this game.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just for two people, really. And it's just amazing because it makes you feel like you're in a romantic comedy. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it doesn't work. It is The Fog of Love.
That, I swear there's a video for that too.
Yeah. Well, not me. It was me and my Valentine date. My board game Valentine date. But the thing... Man,
it was my game though.
Yeah, you did. Your game introduced that to me. I saw that box. I was like, well, I'm going to do a Valentine's Day thing. He's like, can I borrow that? Great. It took me a long time to get my copy of it. But I have played, I played the same scenario with different people and different traits that they would get.
So you went on a bunch of different dates with a bunch of different people.
Yeah, I did.
Gotcha.
I did. Mm-hmm. It's all about finding love.
Mm-hmm.
And not really getting there, but just finding it.
It's a great game. I love it.
Yeah.
It was definitely pushed off of my list very recently, but yeah, it was like my number 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
It came close. Came really, really close. Hey everybody, that is our 2018 top 10 game list. Again, if you didn't see the last episode, which is 10 to 6, you still have a chance. Go watch it. Go watch it, please. And come watch and subscribe to our channel. We really would appreciate it because coming up, we got season 4 coming up to our show. First of all, I can't believe that I'm doing season 4, and I have a lot of subscribers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So I thank you for subscribing to my channel. If there's anything you guys would like us to try out, like maybe get our first impression reviews on something, or maybe a game that you just want me to set up for you guys in speed time, or anything else. Maybe we can do some sketches this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure stuff out, but we couldn't do this without you guys. So thanks for joining us. And until 2019, see you next time.